Hi, it's Ronnie, and welcome to my channel and to Craft Challenge IQ, which was created by Jackie, who is JQ Crafty here on YouTube. And see that list of 7? That's what we're going to use. It's a recipe challenge, only with a twist. You could either take all those things at one time and create your layout, or go day by day and not know what's coming up, which it was very strongly suggested not to glue anything down if you did that. So I did not glue anything down. Not until after day 7 anyway. Day 1 is 2 photos, at least 2 photos, and the color red. And you have to have 2/3 of the page colored. So I got that rustic red plaid and I made sure I had 2/3 of it. And I matted my photos, even though it didn't say that, because I got that black out. And it was a big enough piece that I could do the stars for day 2 and mat my photos at the same time. Day 3, add torn paper. So I got enough, barely, to fit over the top of that plaid paper. And it's clouds. And yeah, I'm not gluing it down yet, but I did make sure it fit. And I did figure I had more than enough stars, but I figured as long as I was punching, I'd do it 3 times. Day 4 was to add gold. And this is a neutral metallic cardstock stack, so I pulled out a piece of the gold. And it's kind of toned down compared to the gold I usually use, which is that mirrored cardstock. And I used my dies for it, the Spellbinder travel ones. And so I did like a north, south, east, west thing. Compass, that's it. I did a compass and a camera, the word adventure, and maybe something else. But I did an arrow, but it don't go on the layout. Then I did not read the instructions correctly. So it's day 5 retake. I am going to be pulling those green leaves out of there because it's not your favorite punch, which, I have several. It is your favorite border punch. I left that out when I was writing it down. So, yeah, we are on day 5. I'm cutting out paper. I'm trying to remember what I was cutting the paper out for. Oh, yeah. It says use your favorite border punch and house embellishment. Well, I decided to make my own embellishment, my own house embellishment. And I pulled out some, well, it's that 6x6 paper pad there with the wood grain. And I was trying to pick out which ones I wanted. I wanted weather worn and more rustic. And so, yeah, I'm making me a house right there. And it did not say on the instructions, other than house embellishment, what kind of house to have. So I decided, since, my layout started out an outdoorsy layout, camping, hiking kind of sort of thing. Well, we were at Elephant Rock, so we were kind of hiking. Uh, I decided an outhouse. And so, yeah, I'm putting an outhouse together for my layout. However, you will see me change my mind. And so I will be putting together another house and lay this one to the side. Now, when I was a kid, we didn't have an outhouse. We had a bathroom. However, I had relatives that had outhouses. So I was familiar with them. Most of them were older family members, but my cousins, their dad worked for a lumber company, logging company, and their mom did too. She would be the cook, and so they'd both be working, but they generally live in some kind of building there on the property and even a trailer. And they had outhouses because there was no septic tanks there. So I was familiar with them because I would go to people's houses that had them. And they were a variety, but they mostly looked kind of worn and not super well taken care of, in my opinion. That was an opinion of a small child. But while sightseeing and going to state and national parks, there has been some over the years that did not actually have a bathroom, but they had a fancy outhouse. It looked like you were going to walk in there and it was going to have a regular toilet. However, you could tell by the smell it didn't. But I decided to be creative and make one like they had when I was a kid. And I did a half moon there because you always had to have some light in there. And that's kind of a window for that. However, I'm going to end up adding some stars to it. And so, yeah, some of them had a star usually next to the moon, but mostly they just had the moon. I want to apologize right now for how long my video is, but I did a lot in it. And I did leave this in here because I am going to go ahead and decide to use it later. After I make the other house, I decided to put both of them on here. And as you can tell, I did not have no template or anything to make this with. It was kind of paper piecing as I went. I used the darker wood for the top of the outhouse. A lot of them had like a tin roof, and the darker wood kind of reminded me of that. And because of the fact that I'm going to put it on there and you're going to see the bottom and the top before I get done, I wanted to make sure the wood grain was on both sides similar. I didn't want the cartoon looking one on there. And so I just went ahead and covered both sides. I used my dragonfly punch to make the little hinges on the right, plus the door handle. I cut a bigger piece on the door handle. I used the head and body and tail and everything, whereas on the hinges I didn't use as much. Now I'm making the other house. And the thing is, I thought, why didn't I think of that sooner? And see how I used that border punch on that piece of wood, well, wood grain. That's because it was a qualification to have a border punch. And I got rid of the green leaves because they were not. And I did the edge of that. And so I'm going to end up using maybe an inch, inch and a half of it. Not very much on my border punch. And I am cutting out a birdhouse. I cut the house itself and then I figured, well, I got the angles right on that. I'm not going to have to figure the angling again for the roof. So I just cut it out of the same spot and I'm layering it on there. Now, since I had that rusty red, the more autumn color, I decided to go ahead and use my rusty hinge ink. And yeah, I'm putting it on pretty much everything on my layout. The wood grain I had as Simple Stories, whereas the plaid and the clouds are Echo Park. But I thought they went together just fine. You can see the back of that one wood grain. I'm going to end up misplacing it because I forgot what the other side looked like. And yeah, I'll end up pulling out a 12 by 12 that matches the other wood grain just because I misplaced it and then seen it after I'd done and cut the other one. I decided to put my birdhouse up on a tall pole, partly because I thought it'd look cute. And see, there's my base with my border punch. And also, I decided I could put signs on there, directional signs, and that I'd have enough room for 3 if I made it tall enough. Now, since I'd already decided not to use my outhouse and the rustic looking wood, I decided I could use any wood I wanted. So this is a warmer wood color than what that other is. But I guess I'm going to mix them on my layout because I am going to pull that back in. Even though at the time I was making the birdhouse, I didn't think I was going to be doing that. I reinforced the back of the birdhouse too with some of that cardstock. I didn't want it too flimsy when I put it on my layout. Well, I knew I was taking it back and forth, that's part of it too. And going from one day to the next. And here I'm making it thicker. I wanted to, on the birdhouses, they have that little perch for the bird to sit on right in front of the hole for the birdhouse, for the birdhouse. And so I layered some of the wood grain together and glued it all together. Then I used my crocodile and punched the holes, so because it punches really easy no matter how thick you make that. And it does punch through metal. I tested it before. I'm on day 6 now, and day 6 is just add an animal. So in the paper that I was using, well, you know what? This is photoplay. I said Echo Park. It is photoplay. It just hit me. Yeah, these papers are photoplay except for the wood grain that's right there right now, and it is Simple Stories. But I added the bear, and what was great then, I can put words on my sign then, and I can point an arrow to the bear. I haven't done it yet, but that's what I'm going to end up doing. I was so excited when I thought of doing that. When I started putting adhesive on the back of that paper there, it has all kinds of little flowers, and I thought, oh, I can make that the bottom instead. And then I thought, no, I needed the red. That's why I got that rustic red looking plaid. And then I looked at it again and I thought, well, it's got little tiny specks of red flowers on there. I could still use it. And then I thought, oh, I really like the plaid. So I went ahead and turned it over and used the plaid anyway. Now, my photos, I hadn't told you what they are. They are elephant rocks, which I had mentioned. And one is Jake holding up that giant stone. And I had a hard time deciding how to put them on the layout. I wanted those 2 trees on the right side of the stone because it shows that the stone was there long before the trees were, because they grew up around it. And when I put the foam tape down, I'll put it on that photo, and then the other photo I will adhere straight down, and I will cover the corner of the other photo up just so the trees will show up really good. But I'm going to forget that for a second and have to go back and do it. But I will cut it out, because as it is, my layout's going to take like 10 hours to upload and just to get what I've got done and cut out a bunch. I just don't even know how this layout got so long. It started out so quickly, adding one little thing or two here and there. And then when I got to actually putting the layout together, it took me a lot longer than I intended. I did cut some grass there to go at the bottom of my birdhouse slash sign, and I'm making it a little bit on the taller side. And on my signs, the top arrow, it is facing kind of upward. So I'm going to have falling rock on it. And then the middle one, the bear. And I am going to change it where it points down a little bit towards the bear. And then the last one is going to say outhouse, because by then I'd already decided I was going to pull it back over here. But I used my border punch with the grass to make the grass at the bottom. And yeah, I think this is right about there. I haven't wrote on it yet, but soon as I write on it, that's when I decide that I am going to pull the outhouse back over. We have kind of a running joke in our family. Jake has to go to the bathroom at the most inopportune times when we are sightseeing or on a trip. And of course, we took plenty of exits to go hunt for bathrooms for him. And so I thought, I'm going to bring it back over here and I am going to use it. When I first decided to use it, I decided I'd make my title When Nature Calls. And I thought about in small letters. You go running, or we go running, or he goes running, something along those lines. And then I thought, oh, no, I've got an even better one. So I will have a longer title on this layout. I am using the black twine there, and it is by Close to My Heart. And I'm making a sign, and I'm punching holes in each end. So my piece of twine is really small. It's not going to be very big on here at all. I used that same paper I had glued together and made thicker and punched another peg. So I'd have a peg to hang my little sign on, and it says vacant on it. And about ran out of room, but then I thought, well, you know, I've seen a lot of country signs and they don't care if they're out of room or not. They'll make it fit. So I decided that's what I was going to do too. My Spellbinder's little gold cutout pieces, I did glance at the list to see what went next to make sure I didn't forget anything, and thought, oh no, I got to put that gold on here. I am going to just put it in the empty space on that photo where the rock is at and fill that area in. I'm going to cut a 1.25 inch circle, and it's not big enough to cover the whole back of that, but that's okay. I like the looks of it where it isn't quite big enough and you can see the space there. I think on all the Spellbinders dies that I own, if you run them through with an embossing mat, after you cut them out, they'll do better embossing. And so if you end up looking closely at the compass, you will see that it does have embossing on there. The camera, you really can't tell it. I used the thicker one, Anna Griffin, but it still didn't do as good as it does sometimes. Of course, I use my old um, plates and platform, and they're kind of on the worn outside. They don't lay flat, they curve. So I thought maybe that might have something to do with it, since the bottom one didn't lay down like it should. I am just, oh, I fussy cut out a little squirrel on a stump, and I'm going to put that right next to the outhouse. And I added Explore up there on the compass, so I decided to go ahead and add critters down there by the squirrel. And then I'm thinking, I need one more animal on here, and I had seen some deer on the cut apart sheet, and the deer had antlers. The taller one had antlers. However, it has spots on its back. So I decided to go ahead and cut the antlers off and just let both of them have spots on their back, no antlers. And I'm going to tuck that in right beside the birdhouse sign. And other than my title, I think I'm going to be done with my layout. The that is a quick cut slice and plate, and I am going to do the first part of my layout, first part of my title with it, and it's the When Nature Calls, and it wouldn't fit down there on the right after I added so much stuff. I mean left after I added so much stuff, so I put it on the right. And then the other part of my title will fit down there using the Echo Park um, letterbox letters. Oh, I forgot. I looked at my list again and seen the stars and thought, oh, no, I haven't put them on my layout yet. And there's my letterbox dies. And the second part's going to say, when nature calls, the first part, you drop what you are doing. Because it hit me that he was holding up that giant rock, and it'd be like he had to go to the bathroom when nature calls, and dropped what he was doing, because we've had to drop what we were doing a lot of times, take him to the bathroom. But yeah, it's just a family joke, and I thought how opportune that is that I put that picture on there with that big old rock, and that I actually thought of it before I got the layout done. But down below you'll see links to all the other gals that are doing this challenge, and we're going to be doing it every month. And there is a Facebook group, Craft IQ, if you would like to join and join in on the fun. And you can do it one day at a time like I did, or you can do it all at once and see everything there at the end and then create your layout. But if you leave a comment below, I'll get back with you. And if you like the video and hit a thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. And if you are not subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. And again, so sorry this this is so long. Like I said, it'll probably take 10 hours to upload. But I hope y'all have a happy, scrappy week. Take care and stay safe. Bye.